Content creator Joey Garrity, the founder of Superstar Entrepreneurs Digital Media Hub and Joey G113. I'm dedicated to empower entrepreneurs by sharing tools, tips, and resources to help you get more influence and success on my show, Superstar Entrepreneur Spotlight with Joey. Hi everyone, welcome to Superstar Entrepreneur Spotlight with Joey. And you know you're in the right place if you're here to learn how to create your signature talk with CEO in the International Speaker Network, Lisa Reid. She's fantastic. Had an opportunity to meet her, and I had to have her on the show. And also, she has a book, and we're going to talk about that book in just a minute too. But just a little bit more about me. My name is Joey Garrity. I'm a content creator and the founder of Superstar Entrepreneur Digital Media and Joey G113. And you can learn more about me, my products, and services at joeyg113.com. You can also learn about why I named my company Joey G113 on my website. And I'll tell you, it's after two of the most famous women entrepreneurs out there that I love. And one of them is Coco Chanel. Okay, so I want to bring up our guest today, Lisa Reid from the Green Room, and let's get going because she has so many gems to share with us. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Hi, I'm awesome. So excited to be here.
Oh my God, we both have a love affair with red lipstick. We made sure that we talked about that before we got on the show. Um, and again, I did name my company after Chanel, Coco Chanel, and so it has a lot to do with the red lipstick as
Love
well.
it.
But I love that you are the CEO of the International Speaker Network. I think that's amazing. And I also love the share. I thought that this was after several entrepreneur attempts, I finally landed on the one that was aligned with my true gifts. Let's talk about that.
Gosh, I think it's the entrepreneurial journey is not a straight line. At least none of the entrepreneurs I've talked to have had that experience. And I was interested in a lot of things and I'm good at a lot of things, but it wasn't until I finally accepted like this is the thing and it's okay to do the thing that I want to do instead of trying to mesh into what someone else is telling me I'm good at.
I love that. And that's such a roll out the red carpet moment, right? When you had this aha of like, I want to do this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that solidified it for you, right?
Yeah, and I did a few other things. I mean, I always say everything I do, I have fun doing for the most part. Like I don't usually do things that I don't enjoy. So it's not to discount or take away from all the other things that I've done in my career that I loved. But when I finally had that wake up call to help people understand the speaking world, the business side of like how do you get booked for the rest of your career, it was literally a phone call. This gentleman who I'd known for a couple of years, he was in my network, which is now the International Speaker Network. And he said, "Tell me about your speaking coaching business." And I said, "I don't have one, but thanks for asking." I hung up the phone and I thought, Lisa, that like conversation with ourselves, Lisa, that is the last time you're saying that. Period. Went home, figured out what my company name was going to be, bought the URL. I mean, literally within like 24 hours. It just started flooding out of me at that point.
Well, I love that, and I do think that we do go around the bush quite like like the mountaintop, like quite a few times until we're ready to step into our spotlight and into our greatness, right? Because it takes courage. Definitely takes
It
courage.
does. And I had so many people, mentors, coaches, just a lot of people give me that feedback. I just wasn't ready for it. I just wasn't ready until I was ready. And then I was ready.
Yeah, and then when you are, then you just fall into it, and then it's just so much more fun. I love this tip that you have here to create your signature talk. Start by creating a list of topics you wish everyone knew.
Yes. We get so in depth with our own expertise. We just kind of think everyone knows this. Like
Yeah.
your social media feeds are full of like for me, it's full of speaking tips and speaking this and speaking that. But my husband is a golf instructor. He doesn't have those things on his feed. He's got stuff about golf on his feed. And so we start to think everyone knows the stuff. But honestly, they don't. They don't know those things. So what are the things that you know, when you're trying to create your talk, like you talk to people or prospects or just people out in the world and they're like, "Oh, I've never heard of that. I don't know what that is." Or you're constantly explaining stuff. That's a good place to start when it comes to creating your talk.
I love that, and, I always love to I get really passionate every year about one topic, right? And then I just find a story that backs it up, right? Right? Because I love video podcasting. Like that is my gig right now. And so that's all I want to talk about is video podcasting and YouTube, right?
I love it.
And so I also tell people, so make sure that you're enjoying whatever you're talking about up there as well. I want to talk about your book, Get Speaking Gigs Now. First of all, I love the title. I thought
Oh, thank you.
some, right? But what can people expect inside this book, sister?
What happened is when I first started speaking, this was back in 2013, I had 0 speaking engagements, 0 email lists, 0 clients, and I booked 83 speaking engagements my first year. Okay, this is back in 2013, all in person in my local area. I live in Southern California, as do you. And people would always ask me, "How did you do it? What did you do?" Like, "I wanna get booked. Can you just tell me? Can I pick your brain?" This book is about those 7 pillars of, like, here are the things that you are gonna be a great way to get you started conceptually, and it took me a while to figure out, like, what are the things that I'm doing? And it's not just one thing. It's some of it is, like, getting ready to be ready, and it's one and done, but some of the things are consistently, consistent activities. So, it's a combination of those items in
I
the book.
love that. So basically, you put your system into the book, right? So everyone, you should get her system. So it's in her book. So go ahead and buy it.
There
I
you
have
go.
it down there in the comment section. So go ahead and click on over. I have a share here. Mine is begin your keynote with a story that emotionally captivates your audience's attention, but also makes you more relatable and approachable. I think that that is so important. I know that when I first came out of Hollywood, I first of all didn't think anyone would care about anything I learned in Hollywood or why I was in Hollywood. And I had my speaker coach, who's quite famous in Northern California, and she said, "No, you want to talk about those stories, but I also had to make them approachable about the ups and the downs, and what how I really was able to get over, the cumbersome." Of the roadblocks that are in front of us in anything we do, anything, right?
I think it depends on what you're speaking about. Like one of my clients speaks about or his industry is non-emergency transportation insurance.
Okay.
He doesn't need to share his personal story
No, no.
when he's talking about that. So although storytelling is awesome and being vulnerable can be amazing, technique. It is not for every single scenario at every single moment for every single person. So
Sure.
one of the things when I call it get your talk ready to rock. It's like figuring out what's that person's story, service, style, what's the audience, what are the typical venues? We got to like make it all make sense. So that's
Yeah.
my opinion on that.
Yes, yes, no, absolutely,
You know that.
absolutely. If you're right, right, right. I am known for my signature stories out of Hollywood. That has become my hook, right?
Yeah.
People want to know what I learned down there and how I did that. And I actually share that in my second book, Being a Superstar: How to Expand Your Love Capacity. And I put myself on the cover,
Good for you.
right? And, and I want to encourage everyone else there to do the same, right? Because it takes courage to do that, but it's great for face recognition. It's great for your branding, and to stand in that as well. But I do share in there about what I learned while I was down there and how it really impacted me today, what I do today in the marketplace. Um, I want to also share quickly, I want to share a tip here of what I've learned along the way in terms of becoming an international speaker is you want to highlight your services though while you're doing it, but do it organically. And it's really great to talk about how you've helped other people and brag. Like just do it. I think bragging's got a really bad rap. I do. In Hollywood, they're like, my boss was like, my first mentor was like, if we don't brag and tell everyone what movies we made, why are they going to sit here in the next meeting with us? And I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's like sharing. It's
Yeah,
like sharing about something that's really cool that you know is gonna benefit the audience in some way.
yeah,
So I think that's maybe an easier pill for some people to swallow when we have a hard time, quote unquote, bragging. But
yeah,
I also like to have whether it's case studies or I call it a story library, which you probably do the same thing, where it's like pulling out different scenarios, stories in your talk on a podcast, whatever that is, that will be relevant to the scenario. So you don't always have to say the same thing every single time, but you can pick and choose which ones are relevant.
Yeah, and my little secret is that I actually have a hero keynote, and I just change out the emotional connection on the front end depending on what audience I'm in front of, right?
Beautiful.
So I have lots and lots of stories in my back pocket, but yeah, I've worked on them, right? Because you
Yeah.
actually have to sit down, and you have to create them, and you have to do the heroine's journey of where the act one, act two, and act three is, and then you have to be courageous. You have to look at your stuff, right,
Yeah.
along the way, right? And I feel that that's so important. Um, I am a huge fan of creating brand evangelists out there, people that are emotionally connecting with your brand out there. And I love doing it through keynotes. I'm so glad that you came on the show today and that you shared with us your gem sister. So appreciative. I'm going to put one more time down here where you can grab Lisa's book, right? So that you can grab that because it is her system, and also to her contact information. Her website will be in the comments as well down there. Any last wisdom or anything else you'd like to share with us, sister?
Oh my gosh. I think if you were dreaming of sharing your voice, I mean, you have 2 we're here. Like, we're here for you. Do what makes your heart sing, and you can do it. There's no, if you were looking for a permission granted. If you're looking for a letter in the mail that says you can do it,
Yeah.
consider it
Just do
sent.
it. And
Yeah,
don't wait. Like, I
yeah,
have people saying, "I'll wait." I said, "And next year, you're gonna kick yourself." I said "Listen," "You wanna get out there." I said, "'Cause I remember when I first started, I literally started speaking to 10 people in the back of a cafe.
there you go.
Like, that's where I started,
Yeah,
right? And it was an amazing experience, and I would go back to 10 people in the back of cafe again. I do
absolutely.
not care about how many people are actually out in the crowd. I care about the emotional connection that we're making,
Yeah,
right?
it's something that can happen instantly. I had a similar when my first talk back in 2013, it was in front of 10 people, tiny little room.
Yeah,
It was a friend of mine. She's like, "Yeah, you can come be our speaker." She didn't know I was the first time I did it.
yeah,
And 3 people took my offer of this workshop. It was like $300. So that's $900 right then and there. This is like over 10 years ago. And then they went on and spent tens of thousands of dollars. It's just my first one. So it's not like you have to have a fancy schmancy system. But you do have to have courage. You gotta be willing to do something, right? And
yes.
that's what I encourage people to do that.
I love that. Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I appreciate you. And I'm gonna drop you down in the green room. Go grab yourself a mocktail.
Okay. Thank you.
My sister. Yeah, isn't she great? No, I love speaking. Speaking changed my entire career, my entire life, actually. I didn't have one client, and then a keynoter in town met me on a set. Actually, I was on a set, and visiting a set in Northern California, and she's like, "You should become a speaker." And she started training me, and I did my first keynote, and just like Lisa, I got my first clients, and it actually launched my business. So if you haven't started speaking and want to speak, please, please, please say yes to yourself because it's literally your birthright. It is your birthright to stand in your spotlight and grow your influence superstars out there. So please, please do that. And join me for another episode every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific Coast time and 10 a.m. Central Coast time. Until next time, I love you, I love you, I love you, and I appreciate you. Bye bye.